Yeah, I thought I had it bad, but my grandma, when she used to come home from work and tell us stories about how they used to make monkey noise at her and shout at her and, you know, be nasty to her and always try and report her to get her sacked from her job, I realised that, you know, it wasn't just a personalised experience, it was a general experience. Also, my dad would talk about it, my mum would talk about it, you know, my brothers had similar experiences, we're always having fights and stuff like this, because you're always getting picked on. I remember being on a march, right? Because they wanted to close our school. I think it was Cerebral. They wanted to close the school, and there was a bunch of black girls in the march. The police van came. They didn't touch the white people. They just came with a bunch of us, and trust me, because I knew my rights, yeah? I said, oh, I'm a minor. I'm a minor. You can't even apprehend me. Take me out, this man. Don't even touch me. That's assault. I remember we even went ice skating at like 16, just to give people an idea. Just going ice skating with a group of friends. That attracted, right? You know, for loads and loads of police to then, you know, come outside. We were like, then they used to call it Kentucky chicken, yeah? Then we were all getting chicken after we went ice skating in a place called Romford, which is in Essex, yeah? And there were just a few of us black children who had gone ice skating, coming home, and we went in the shop to get, you know, some chicken. Now, someone had called the police because they saw a few black children together. And you were taught in school about the civilization of the white man and how they did this and how they did that. They don't teach you that it's us that civilized them. They don't teach you about the Moors that civilized them. They don't teach you about the dark ages of white people that they didn't even know how to wash. They used to wear perfume bags, you know, just to make sure they didn't smell bad. But they want to talk about us. And so, you know, the realization when I got there and I stayed in this beautiful, like, Madar palace, yeah, a hotel, 5-star hotel, marble and gold, yeah. Underneath they had spa and oh my gosh, there was like 5-course meal, and you know, my room was brass and with beautiful, like, you know, marble walls, and it was crazy luxurious, and I was in Africa.
And then you realize you've been lied to.
I was vexed. I'm not gonna lie to you, yeah. 2 days solid on that holiday, yeah. I laid on the beach like, Every time I saw a white person, yeah. I was so mad, you know. I was so mad because, well, they teach you about Africa is slavery, and Africa is so much more,
Yes.
yeah, than slavery. Slavery was one epoch, and that is their colonialization. This is their legacy. This is their blood. This is their hatred. This is their destruction. This is their anti-Africanness. Yeah, this is their theft. Yeah, this is their debauchery. This is their genocide. Yeah, this is their wholesale stealing of everybody's resources, right? Just to better themselves, including the people. Right? They want to talk about terrorism. They're the worst terrorists on the face of the planet. There's no worse terrorists than you know. Just go to America, go to England. You want to see terrorism, yeah? Just walk the streets.
Hello guys, and welcome back again to another amazing episode. And this is the Diaspora Transition episode, where we interview diasporans who decided to leave the diaspora to relocate to the continent. And today, as you guys already know, this episode is not done in Ghana. We are in the Gambia, the smiling coast of Africa. And I'm like, listen, I can't come to this country without interviewing this person. So I'm excited. You know, I have here with me Blaxit, and she's been everywhere. She's been on my brother's page, What That Myers page, you know, and she said something in the video that the UK is dumb. And I'm here today to have a conversation with her, to go in the beginning of the story, to go to the beginning of her story, why she decided to leave the UK and relocate to the Gambia. So if it's something you're interested, stay tuned. So without further ado, Juliet.
Oh, thank you so
Welcome
much.
on the show.
Thank you for having me on your channel, your wonderful, wonderful channel. I so appreciate you being here, coming all the way to my humble abode to interview me. I really appreciate you and love what you're doing. So I'm really honoured just to be interviewed by you. Like, it's amazing. Of course, you know.
Yeah.
You're aspiring to do great things. I so appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I love your energy. I must say, when I was watching you on the TV for the first time with what the excitement, the energy, it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm very privileged to sit here with you today to really kind of reflect back a little bit in the beginning of your story back in the UK.
Sure.
You know, I really want to dive into your even upbringing.
Yes.
How was it like? And
yeah, sure.
so people
sure.
are watching you for the first time. If they've not seen you before,
yeah.
briefly introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay, everybody, I'm Juliet. That's my English name. My Gambian name is Nyancho Kajabi. Nyancho means warrior, and Kajabi is my Gambian family name. I was adopted by a Gambian family, so this transition has been great. So let's go back to my childhood. Yes. I'm first gen. So I'm first generation born in the UK. So my parents were born in Jamaica. Okay. Yeah. And obviously that is the, if you like, part of the history of the legacy of the, if you like, the enslavement of our ancestors. And many of them were brought to the Caribbean and were enslaved, you know, before they got to the Caribbean, were taken from places like Gambia, were taken from places like Nigeria, taken from places like Ghana as well. As you know, there's a huge Sierra Leone and so on and so forth. Yeah, the 15 ECOWAS countries really, you know, is where our ancestry was taken from. And my DNA actually is quite interesting in that, in fact, the majority of my DNA is actually Nigerian. Really? 33.1% Niger. Wow. I think I'm Igbo, and I'm also Gambian. I'm also Ghanaian. Yeah, amazingly enough. Also Sierra Leonean. Wow. So, you know, the whole, you know, putting us on ships from all different locations. We came from Gambia, jumped on the ship. We came from Sierra Leone, jumped on the ship, and so on. So you get the idea. And then we were enslaved on these cotton plantations, etc. So we were then given, you know, the names of our enslavers. And we lost contact with our families, lost contact with our culture, lost contact with basically everything that we called dear to us and that we called home, lost our legacy, lost everything, basically. So, you know, that is where my grandma was the first person to leave Jamaica. She came from St. Elizabeth, and then from St. Elizabeth, she was first to go, and then she sent for my mom, and of course then my mom met my dad, and that's the whole story. Wow. And then I was raised in cold England, and I was raised in a place in East London called Forest Gate. And oh my gosh, what was that like?
How was it like? Yeah.
It was hard. It was hard. I can't say there wasn't good moments, but I can say that.
What made it hard growing up in South? Is it
you know you didn't belong. You were made to feel different. At nursery. From nursery, I remember from the time I started to socialize, that was when you were made to feel different. I can even remember some really terrible childhood memories.
Like what? Give me one example.
For example, I went to Wood Grange Nursery School, and I remember there being a headmistress called Miss Constantine. Constantine. And I remember having a teacher, and we had like these cooking sessions where we would be allowed to bake cookies. Yeah, and it was like a treat when we had cookery time. We didn't have it all the time. And I was told to help wrap the cookies. So we had these green like paper towels. You used to take them from a dispenser, and then you put the cookie in, and then you'd wrap it. So I was one of the helpers that was helping to wrap the cookies so everyone would have a cookie to take home, which of course I did. Yeah. We removed them and we took them off the rack, we put them in and we wrapped them and I gave them. Anyway, at the end of wrapping them and distributing the cookies, yeah, there was one cookie which was short. And so the teacher said, you know, whoever has taken the cookie, step forward. Yeah. Anyway, no one stepped forward. So she volunteered that I'm the black girl in the class, so I must be the thief. Wow. Okay. Because I'm black. Just because I was black, I cried. I was so upset. When my mum came for me, you know, after school, I was beside myself because she'd basically called me. Imagine, you're only like 3 years old and you've been called a thief in front of the whole class when you haven't actually done anything wrong. And so, you know, that left an indelible scar. You know, children not wanting to touch your hand, saying that you were dirty, not wanting to sit next to you at reading time, your hand always being up, but you're never being asked the question, you're never being responded to by the teacher. Even if you had the answer and you're wiggling like this, they wouldn't let you go inside to go toilet during playtime because they assumed that you might steal something. So it was like, you've never done anything wrong. But the assumptions made that the stereotype of you being black and being a criminal starts from childhood. The stereotype starts from childhood. The dislike, the way they make you feel as though you're dirty, like you're indifferent, and all the names that they call you. You know, I don't want to say on camera, but, you know, terrible names from WOG to N-word to, do you know what I'm saying? Gollywog, and I used to call you so many terrible things. You know what I mean? So that you were dirty, yes, yeah, because their children, their parents had taught them to discriminate against you and to tell you they don't want you in their country, they want you out.
Wow.
You know, and my grandma had gone through so much. Yeah, I thought I had it bad, but my grandma, when she used to come home from work and tell us stories about how they used to make monkey noise at her and shout at her and, you know, be nasty to her and always try and report her to get her sacked from her job, I realised that, you know, it wasn't just a personalised experience, it was a general experience. Also, my dad would talk about it, my mum would talk about it, you know, my brothers had similar experiences, we're always having fights and stuff like this, because you're always getting picked on.
What do you remember, you know, your mom saying when you told her about this racism encounter in school?
She told me to be strong. You know, she told me that they were the ones with the problem, that I was perfect. You know, and I would go home and my dad would tell me I'm a princess and I'll put them up. Get ready, I'm going to teach you to fight, you know. So my dad, like, he used to be a boxer, so he told me to jab, you know, 1, 2, how to defend myself. And so that was their idea. And always told me to be proud to be African. Always told me to be proud to be black. My dad was a great Pan-Africanist. And in fact, my uncle Earl, yeah, who's still around today, you know, who probably is in Africa today, was also a very prolific and prominent Pan-Africanist in our family, and was always going to Ethiopia, to Ghana, and so on and so forth. So we always had a wonderful relationship with us being known as as Africans.
Okay, so that was a gift for you. Who gave you that gift of knowing who you are? Because I've had people on the show who didn't have any clue about Africa, didn't understand where they came from, but you seem to be having a Pan-African upbringing. Who gave
Very
that to
much. Yeah, like I said, my dad was a Pan-Africanist, and it was done through the music, through Jamaica. If you look at Count Basie, if you go back to, you know, all the teachings of Marcus Garvey, especially, I've even spoken to Dr. Juliet Garvey, who is Marcus Garvey's son, that I'm hoping that, yeah, you'll do me the honour of interviewing. Yeah, all of their teachings, the teachings of Haile Selassie, we had all of those in our upbringing. We knew about the civil rights movement. And so my dad was very, very much into understanding ourselves and having a good grip of ourselves. And so Sundays, where some people will be going to church on a Sunday, we'll be getting a Pan-African lecture on a Sunday and listening to reggae music, you know, where they were talking about time to repatriate, to go back to Africa. And so he would take me to the African Centre. He would take me to meetings with activists and so on and so forth. So I was raised in a very, if you like, pro-Pan-African environment. And also you had Carnival every year. Carnival is all about, you know, putting on a face to defeat, you know, the ravages of colonialism. And celebrating that we will still have our culture even beyond colonialism. And adhering to it and being proud of it. And so, yeah, it was just nice to be a part of all of those events, and also to know that, you know, you come from something far bigger and far better. I was never sold as African as, you know, the poor cousin. I was told Africa has gold, Africa has diamonds, Africa has kings, you know, the king of kings, you know, the queen had to bow to him. The queen had to bow to him, you know. And so this is like what I was told, you know, everybody had to bow to the king of kings. And so, you know, I was, and also his wife as well. So I was given that grounding And so it made me proud to be an African. And I got attacked in school, secondary school, you know, I got discriminated against in university. And I was always pro-black, and I didn't care, and I'm not getting black, step back, no way, yeah? No way, you step back, I'm black, yeah, I'm stepping up. And that's it,
I like that.
you know? And so the way that I saw life was like, there's many challenges in life. I went on to do poetry. Benjamin Zephaniah actually gave me a great opportunity to go on stage with him at the Theatre Royal and to go on tour. I also went on tour with the, was it GLC? Yeah, at the time. I was only like 9 and I was writing, you know, poetry about how racism affected me. I was able to express myself. So I was able to have an outlet. I was able to get on stage, and I was able to express myself and how it made me feel, and realized that other people felt exactly the same way, and they were going through the exact same experiences as what I was, except for people felt silenced and they were too scared to talk, too scared to lose their job, too scared to lose their children's place at school, too scared social services might come into their house to take their children, you know, too scared their next door neighbors might call the police on them and make a false allegation, too scared that, you know, the police might make a trumped up charge against their teenage son and get them locked up for something that they never did. You understand, right? Plus the sus laws, plus everybody else. I remember being on a march, right? Because they wanted to close our school. I think it was Sabrinell. They wanted to close the school, and there was a bunch of black girls in the march. The police van came. They didn't touch the white people. They just came with a bunch of us, and trust me, because I knew my rights, yeah? I told them, I'm a minor. I'm a minor. You can't even apprehend me. Take me out, this van. Don't even touch me. That's assault. Yeah? And I went on, and I wouldn't stop getting on until they actually stopped the van and let me out. You know? I remember we even went ice skating at like 16, just to give people an idea. Just going ice skating with a group of friends. That attracted, right? You know, for loads and loads of police to then, you know, come outside. We were like, then they used to call it Kentucky chicken. Yeah? Then we were all getting chicken after we went ice skating in a place called Romford, which was in Essex, yeah? And there were just a few of us black children who had gone ice skating, coming home, and we went in the shop to get, you know, some chicken. Now, someone had called the police because they saw a few black children together.
Just because, wow.
Just because, yeah? And so, you know, it ended up being a terrible situation. The police came, they said, move on. Juliet, being a stubborn person, said, no, I'm walking with my friends to get a bus. I'm not going to be separated from them. Because we're in a racist area. If we get picked off one by one, anything could happen to us. Yeah? And at the time, Romford used to have this group of people called the NF, National Front, who with skinheads used to march and be around the area. And, you know, they were well known for beating up black people. So for us, you know, it was a situation where we had safety in numbers. Right? But you don't have safety in numbers when it comes to the police. So when the police came, they told us to move on. And they said, if we don't move on, yeah, then, you know, all hell's going to let loose. So we was like, all hell let loose for what? I'm just waiting on some chicken. So there was one guy, and his name was, let's just say, like, had a J in it. He knows who I'm talking about. And big guy. And so, of course, the police felt threatened because he said, no, he's not moving either. So because we all said no, we're all going to get a bus. We're all going in the same direction. So we're just waiting for each other. We're not doing anything wrong. We're just eating chicken. We're no threat. So, of course, because we didn't do what they said, out came the truncheons, and they started to beat. Right? And at the time, I had such a good friend. His name was Gary. And Gary, they beat him and they banged his head against the wall. Ricky, they did the same thing. And I just saw the truncheons just beating them in his head. Unfortunately, Gary, later on in life, passed away from a brain aneurysm. And it wouldn't surprise me if the beating that he got and the way that they smashed his head against the wall and was smashing his head in with a truncheon, yeah, had something connected to do with, you know, his later demise. So people obviously don't remember that, you know, these experiences traumatize you. And so, you know, he passed on, and even him passing on at a young age is also trauma, because you wonder if the two things are connected. And the police went on to then even charge us with obstructing the police. They didn't charge me because I've got a big mouth. I'll get my lawyer, right? Yeah. And so they got charged with obstructing the police, and we had to go to court to fight to have it overturned. So this is like the things that you do. And then, you know, someone who's also really dear to me was then charged with a murder they didn't even commit, wasn't even there. But that's what they do. They go to their house with dogs. This is a real experience, and this happens. Even today, there's miscarriage of justice every day. Where, young people are just taken off the street for no reason other than being black under the sus laws.
Let's talk about the system within that almost, what would you say really made you want to move so badly to the continent?
Well, I first reached Africa, the shores of Africa, at age 22. And wow, it just opened my eyes. I realized that not only had we been lied to about Africa, because you've got to remember that thanks to Water Aid, Life Aid, Blue Cross, all of these so-called charities, Save This, Save the World, whatever, they give the impression that Africa is a place, right, that no one would want to go to, okay? You expect to, land in a hut, and the hut is filled with children with big bellies with flies on their faces. This is the impression that they give you, that you can't get clean water, because everyone's starving, yeah? And when you go outside, there's going to be a safari with, giraffes and lions. You got to bring your spare, right? This is, I'm sorry, but this is and you have to mind, if you go down the road, there'll be some kind of skirmish or war, yeah? And if you go further down, there'll be a famine, yeah? And if you go a little further down the road, yeah, you might find some hippopotamuses at a waterhole. So, this is, this is the false narrative. Yeah, and you'll find some people beating the bongo drums. That's what we're gonna find in a little lion skin. How attractive, yeah, these men, half-naked men, yeah, and women with their boobs out. This is the impression that we were sold. And then, but on the other hand, you were taught in school about the civilization of the white man and how they did this and how they did that. They don't teach you that it's us that civilized them. They don't teach you about the Moors that civilized them. They don't teach you about the dark ages of white people that they didn't even know how to wash. They used to wear perfume bags, just to make sure they didn't smell bad. But they don't tell you about that, what real use of lavender was. No. Yeah, they don't want to tell you that they used to throw their wee out of pots. They never had any kind of sewage system. They don't want to tell you that they didn't even use soap. No, but they want to talk about us. And so, the realization when I got there, and I stayed in this beautiful, like, Mahatma palace. Yeah, a hotel, 5-star hotel, marble and gold, yeah. Underneath they had spa, and oh my gosh, there was like 5-course meal, and my room was brass and with beautiful, marble walls, and it was crazy luxurious, and I was in Africa.
And then you realize you've been lied to.
I was vexed. I'm not gonna lie to you, yeah. 2 days solid on that holiday, yeah. I laid on the beach like, Every time I saw a white person, yeah, I was so mad. I was so mad because all they teach about Africa is slavery, and Africa is so much more, than slavery. Slavery was one epoch, and that is their colonialization. This is their legacy. This is their blood. This is their hatred. This is their destruction. This is their anti-Africanness. Yeah, this is their theft. Yeah, this is their debauchery. This is their genocide. Yeah, this is their wholesale stealing of everybody's resources, right? Just to better themselves, including the people, right? They want to talk about terrorism. They're the worst terrorists on the face of the planet. There's no worse terrorists than just go to America, go to England. You want to see terrorism, yeah? Just walk the street. And everyone, they want to talk about, enterprise, yeah? If they want to talk about enterprise, they want to know, use that in crime. Why don't they use that in the crime of enslavement of Africans? Because they were all a part of the same enterprise, from the royal family all the way across to all of the large enterprises, all of the banks. Why aren't they talking about their legacy and how much they gained from the enslavement of our blood, sweat and tears? They can't talk about being developed without talking about Africa, because it's Africa that developed Europe. It's Africa that developed America. They weren't developed, they were savages.
So why do you think they keep, putting the slavery in our faces all the time? What do you think the strategy is? Why do they keep doing
to make us hate ourselves? But we got to remember that we transcended slavery. We transcended them, and we still do. We overpopulate them, and we still do. Yeah, the reason why they do it is because they want to sell the narrative that, oh, you sold each other. No, we didn't. You sold us. Stop your lies. No, you manipulated us, right, into saving our lives by therefore getting involved in your ugly trade.
True.
Don't tell me about before. No, when we had skirmishes and wars, yes, we took other people as prisoners within our villages. Okay, so what? So did you. You still do it in your prisons today. Huh?
Let's speak on that.
That's the same prison system they got today.
They said it's just about money making. The more prisoners you have, the more money the prison system make and stuff like that. Can you speak on that a little bit?
It's twofold. It's not just about money. Why does America have such a large black population, right, of incarcerated, melanated, beautiful black men of African origin? Why?
Why?
Breaks the family. When you break the family, these men cannot repopulate. They cannot go and impregnate. It breaks down the family structure. That's exactly what they want. Breaks down the mental capacity of the black woman to feel supported, protected, and provided for. Yeah? It breaks down the fabric of that society. That's what incarceration does. It takes away your humanity. It takes away your dignity. It takes away your liberty. And they know this. That's why one white man in a state can get away with smoking weed till the day comes blue and he will never be charged. But another black man will be caught smoking and he'll be given 10 years. Yeah?
This is deep.
It's true. It's absolutely true. And the thing is that it starts with the court system. We can't just talk about the prisons because it's part of a whole judicial system. And if you read a book, oh gosh, Chidwemi, When Things Fall Apart, Chidwemi, I forgot his surname. It'll come back to me, yeah, When Things Fall Apart. If you look at how they went into Africa and created a system, one of the first systems that they bring is the judicial system. Why?
I don't know. Tell me why.
So that they can create laws to control you. So you have to live by their laws. The problem is, we never said, you know, we don't want your laws. Keep your laws. We don't want them. We don't want to be judged by you. We don't want to be ruled by you. We don't want to be controlled by you. Keep your laws. I was free before you come, and I'll be free when you go. Keep your laws. I don't want your immigration. Keep it. I don't want your criminal system. Keep it. We know how to control ourselves. Keep it. We were living before you came. Keep it. I don't need your constraints. I don't need your fake spiritual systems. Keep it. We existed for a millennia before you came. Keep it. But what they done was give us fear. And that's what enslavement and imprisonment and the system is about. And then they use education to enforce it.
Let's talk about that. The mindset. What they do, because I had people come in, they said, listen, the mindset here on the continent is crazy, where we see the African continent to be the promised land, to be able to make anything for ourselves. But the people on the continent has been brainwashed to the point where they believe that it's not possible to make it here until they go to the US, UK and stuff like that. And they are blaming the education system. Let's speak a little bit on that. Why do you think that is? So
I call it the white savior syndrome. Yeah, that's my personal take on it. I call it the white savior syndrome. We're taught the white savior syndrome from you have this man in a red suit with a big white beard who apparently gives you all of your Christmas presents. Yeah, who of course doesn't. But you're taught all of these myths from a child. So you don't value what your parents worked hard to give you at this one time of year, if you celebrate that. Yeah? Because of course you have so many different religions on the continent. But I'm just using that as an example. Yeah? So you're taught that this man's going to be your savior. Yeah, this man is what gives you your finest gifts that you get excited for at Christmas. Yeah, he's coming through the chimney after Christmas is coming. I'm so excited. What am I gonna get? So, what do you say to your parents who have worked so hard to really buy those presents? You neglect their effort. You neglect the fact that they worked hard just to get that. You probably put themselves into debt. Yeah,
to be able to get a present.
Just for you to open a present on that day and to get a nice meal. Okay. But we're told that this has come from this entity. It comes from this this person. And so we're sold everything. We're sold that the royal family in England, right, is like the patriarchal family of the world. No, they're not.
Really?
How?
Why do you think that is?
Watch Netflix. Watch Netflix. Yeah, watch Netflix. I'm sure that two royal family members have got a series on there.
Now, I saw in the comment section, someone, I interviewed a couple, I think, and they moved to the continent, and then they were like, listen, come back home, come to the continent. And someone commented down saying that, I don't think so. I would rather stay in the Canada or UK. Mm-hmm. So we are free there. We have jobs. We have 9 to 5. Every month we have our money coming in. Like there's fast track system. I can order food and it's here in 5 minutes. We have all these conveniences. So that is what you're talking about in Africa. Is not freedom to us. So if you hear someone say this, what would you say to that?
Well, firstly, that's not freedom. Yeah, freedom is me sitting here in the afternoon, not having to do a 9 to 5. Okay, that's number one. Not depending on anyone to pay me my salary. Not depending on anyone to tell me when I can go on holiday, when I can have annual leave, when I can go to the toilet, when I can walk down the road. Yeah, freedom is not having to forcibly pay taxes out of my money according to a government system, but pay taxes according to what I work and what I earn. Yeah, freedom is being able to walk out of my house without knowing that there's a camera watching me, 1 camera here, 1 camera there. Freedom is knowing that I might not get arrested because I can't top up my oyster before getting on a bus, or that it might even not work properly and they're going to beat me, the police are going to beat me when I get off the bus. Freedom, right, is knowing that I can shout wherever I want right now without anyone calling the police on me to tell me that I'm actually causing some kind of sound pollution. Yeah, freedom is being able to say, you know what, I don't support this particular agenda. Yeah, HPQG confusing me, right? And I don't have to have my children go to a school where they're told that it's okay to change your gender, right? And change their agenda of what humanity is and try and confuse them with the X chromosome, with the Y chromosome, when we all know what we're born, right? Freedom is being able to say no. When you live there and you want to watch your TV and they're telling you straight, you got to have a TV license to watch that TV, and they're going to knock on your door, bang, bang, bang. Yeah? And you have to hide because you refuse to pay it. But you don't have a choice, because anyhow they knock on your door and they come in, you get a fine of £10,000. Are you telling me that's freedom? That you have to even pay to watch your TV in England? It's called a TV license. You don't believe me? Go online and check it. And that they can imprison you if you don't pay the fine? You're telling me that's freedom? You're telling me it's freedom that you can't even drive down the road. You already pay your car tax, but then they're going to give you some kind of a charge. There's UNASA machines now. There's you got charges. What do you call it? Congestion charge. And if you don't pay that, they triple it and give you compound interest. Tell me, how is that? Living in a free society. Tell me what it is when a social worker, if you're late to collect your child from school, a social worker can come and take your child and put your child in care. Tell me, how is that free? Tell me how waking up every morning wondering if you're still going to have your job in order to pay your mortgage is free. Why don't you tell me about having my house that I have no mortgage? Tell me about having my house that I have no rent. Tell me about having my house that I have in perpetuity. Free. My water's free. My energy's free from the sun. That's freedom. I can go and pick a pawpaw off the tree. That's freedom. I can go and pick mangoes and bananas on my tree. That's freedom. I don't have to go and pay to go and eat a fruit today. That's freedom. Freedom is knowing that I can live among my own people and be comfortable being me. I don't have to wear a suit in order to fit into society, or to wear designer clothes in order to feel important, or to feel that I have to, represent in a certain way in order to feel like I'm somebody. I'm already somebody because I'm here and I'm free. That's what freedom is. Freedom is peace of mind. Yeah? You want to talk about a salary, you're locked into that salary. You tell them that you want to take off 6 weeks to go to Africa, they tell you, I'm sorry, but you only have 28 days holiday. Yeah? 28 days holiday, and the rest will be unpaid. And if we have to get a temp in, you might not have your job when you get back. Okay? So you tell me about that. You tell me about why most black people in jobs here are first in and first out. Right? You tell me why so many black people were going to tribunal because of racism at work that they stopped making it free. You tell me if freedom means that you can relax in your home. You tell me if freedom means that you know that you're not going to encounter any racism in your life. Yeah? You're not free. You never have been free. And even when you work hard to get to the top of your career, there's always a glass ceiling that says, no, Blackie, we're going to keep you there. Okay?
But people are still okay with the system and still living it.
I have no issue with people being happy in their scenario. That's entirely up to you. But just remember, you can own your house and they can still take it anyway. Why? Because you didn't pay this tax, you didn't pay that tax, or you didn't clean it outside your house, and they're going to levy a fee. And they levy the fee so they can, they do it in New York, in Harlem. Yeah? Do you understand? You even own your house. And they you still pay taxes.
You can lose your house too.
Yeah, you can still lose your house. You paid outright for your house. You own your house. But if you didn't pay your taxes on that house, the state can still take your home. So you still don't really own it.
I like that.
Yeah? And in England, of course the state owns the land. So you don't own that either.
You just own the house on the land.
Well, not technically. You're a leaseor.
But in Africa, you can own everything.
Yeah, perpetuity.
Talking about freedom, you've helped people. I met a lady yesterday who said, listen, I moved to the Gambia because of Juliet, because she helped me with a perspective, making me understand by watching her videos. You've done that, where people now own lands and been able to move here.
Sure.
Right. And I think that is very beautiful, that it's very inspirational, you know, for you to do what you do. But also, let's touch on a little bit about, I see you helping people get lands and stuff like that as well.
Well, actually, what we did was we founded the single largest settlement for us diasporans. Here, it's 565 plots in one area. Yeah. And 90% of them are diasporans. And we were able to secure a deal. So they were able to get the plots, yeah, even at like $300. Can you imagine? Yeah, that was part of the repatriation package that we put together for people for the first 120 of those plots. So those people were lucky enough to obtain that land, and now the land as well, the value of the land is just wow. But yeah, and but I was happy to be, you know, pioneering that project, and to have the largest settlement here in the Gambia is quite an achievement, considering, I mean, it was hard work, I'm not going to lie. It was a lot of hard work and a lot of heartache. And I had people saying, oh, this is a scam, there's no way you can get land for £300 or whatever it was, you know, there has to be something in it. And now people are building their houses, they put their walls on it, they're developing their land. And so they realize that, uh-oh, you know, all this stuff we've done to tarnish her reputation, to say bad things about her, you know, it wasn't founded. And the thing is that you and I know, the same as Marcus Garvey, there are going to be people who are employed through agencies to try and do anything to besmirch your name, anything to degrade you, anything to defame you. And people have got to realize, I'm here, I'm in my home, you know, and I want for everybody what I've got for myself. I'm not doing this for any other reason. You know, trying to make land as cheap as possible and facilitate it for people as much as possible, I have to rely on other people to help me too. And if that person fails, you know, I still have to try and compensate for that failure. I'm not going to say no, you know, this didn't happen. I'm saying yes, I'll own up responsibility. Say, this person let us down, but don't worry, we'll recover it. We'll find another way to compensate, and there you are. You understand? And everybody makes mistakes. But, you know, for me, the process has been a learning curve, a wonderful one. And I've learned so much, grown so much, developed so much, met some of the most awesome people in my life. life, you know. And I also have, you know, some superlative fans who, you know, have taken more than an interest in my life and love to write false stories and false narratives and false videos. There was one such person who has an absolutely obsession that made like about 52 videos about me. I don't know why my life is so interesting to them, because it's not to me. But you know, people love negativity, and that's the thing. If you make up a negative lie, people believe it all day long over the truth. And you know, that's part of like what we're even doing in our campaign to exonerate Marcus Garvey. I spoke to his son, Dr. Juliet Garvey, and he's still trying to exonerate his dad because his dad was charged with a crime he didn't commit, in order to, of course, stop the movement. And that is exactly what they're doing here. So if you want to see, you know, who are the real agents, you know, the COINTELPRO, yeah, the people that are employed by, you know, the agencies that we all know that don't want Africa to succeed, the ones that take out and assassinate our leaders willy-nilly. Yeah, the ones that as soon as a leader pops their head up and says, no, we're going to do this for Africa, we're going to do that for Africa, Africa unite, bam, they're taken out. These are the same people, and they're employed, and they look like us, and they go online and they say what they have to say and what they have to do, and they come in and they try and infiltrate your organization, infiltrate your family, infiltrate every aspect of your life. Yeah, and try to make it detrimental. That's one of the risks you take about being online. Yeah, I dare say after this interview, you'll probably get people saying, oh, this and all that and whatever. It's like, okay, whatever. Like I said, for me, if you have an issue, we work it out. There's no problems.
Yeah, I had a quab as someone who said that we black people often give up on ourselves so easily.
Yeah.
Now, there are companies that defaulted so many times or did something bad. By example, the Japanese company, car manufacturing company, he made some example that back in the days that the car would just literally roll over and kill everybody.
Yes.
But they didn't give up on that. They still keep on purchasing, and now it's big company like Nissan. But in our black community, just one mistake, we just kick them out.
And the thing is that what was my mistake? You know, I'm still waiting to find out. Do you understand? You said this, okay, no, I proved that it's that. No, you said this, no, I proved that it's that. No, you said this, no, here's all the paperwork. You understand? So it's like, it's unfair. It's unfair. The allegations are unfair. You couldn't wait for a piece of paper? Like, you understand? Someone says to you, yeah, you just have to wait because it's going for a process. Because something is going for a process doesn't mean that it's not going to occur. But we lack patience with each other. We lack tolerance with each other. We lack compassion with each other. Yeah? And we lack caring and love for each other. And we have too much jealousy, too much hatred, and we have a self-destruct button.
Why do we have this as black people?
Because one is programmed in us that we don't celebrate success. Yeah? You're kind of brought up where, you know, you might have an elderly grandparent who says, Lord, look how you get fat. Yeah? And they make disparaging remarks. So you hear this as a child, Lord, me, I get fat. That, you know, so you think automatically I don't look good. Yeah? So we start to denigrate each other. And this is something that is, you know, intergenerational, and it's handed down and it's damaged. Dr. Joy DeGroy, she wrote a book called Post-Traumatic Slavery Syndrome. It's a fantastic book. Everyone should read it. And also Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she wrote the ISIS paper, and it has a great field theory in there, and it breaks it down. We don't need their theories. We don't need their education. We don't need their psychologists. We have our own. Yeah? We have our own doctors. We have our own educators. Yeah, we're done. We are, in fact, the world leaders in inventions. Any kind of invention usually comes from a black person who owns the original actual copyright, right, or the patent, if they were granted it. You see what I mean? And this is the problem that we have. Lots of things are not granted to us because of slavery. So if you look at the traffic light, he wasn't given the patent because of slavery. Garrett A. Morgan wasn't given the patent, and it was brought over by General Electronics. Yeah,
the patent belongs to their slave owners at that time.
Well, the thing is that they would deny us because they have the system. They still have the system, and that's why I say when you're living in England or America, they run your system. They are your system. They control every system. Yeah, whether it's your water that you drink, they want to poison you in a blink. Okay? They want to poison your food in a blink. You have no control. right? You have no control. Here, you can live without eating imported goods. I can grow potatoes in my yard.
I saw there's mango everywhere.
I know, right? You know, actually, one of our estates is actually a mango estate with 120 trees on it. Yes, yeah,
Wow.
in Gunjur. And it's beautiful. I think there are like 6 plots left. Yeah, and well, I don't want to talk about it. Let's not put my mouth on myself. But let's just say great things are happening. And there's a lot of development, a lot of innovation. There are a lot of discussions and things going on right now. You know, that one of the things that I'm really grateful for about Blaxit is that we've encouraged, I'm a business developer, and so of course I've encouraged a lot of business development, a lot of business incubation, and a lot of scaling up of businesses, and encouraging people to also, you know, work with community groups and also to give into communities as well. And so that's the other side of, you know, my heart, if you like, is you know, being altruistic. And that's really important. And even my altruism, people try to turn against me. I was just like surprised at how wicked we are to each other, how evil we are to each other. You know, and what are you going to succeed? Why are you going to succeed by doing what you're doing? You're not going to stop me. I wake up every morning, I'm still going to sit down and eat my mango, eat my pawpaw, eat my banana. You understand? I'm still going to be doing it. That if you have a personal issue, which some women do or some men do, then try to resolve it. We don't have to be jealous of each other. Let's celebrate each other, and let's throw down, you know, a rope and pull each other up the ladder. Right? Rather than trying to pull someone down, let's try and, you know, build upwards. That's what I want us to do. And the thing is, the only way we can do it is by changing our mindset and having a complete 360-degree mind emancipation, and realize that, you know, we are the only race, yeah, whose God does not like us. We are the only race, yeah, who worship, everybody else has their own gods that look like them, that represent them. But this is one of the problems. We need our own black savior. You know, we need our own black savior. If you worship Jesus, then make him black.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, let's free some minds, you know.
Yeah,
People
but why can't Jesus be black?
Maybe he's black.
Aha! Now you're talking. Yeah, and maybe his genealogy, his lineage, still even exists. Maybe.
Maybe.
You might even be related. Who knows?
Yes.
That's my point. That's my point. You know, we need to live in the realm of possibility.
You know, there's a saying in Ghana that if you're going to church and you see a white man, go back home because you've seen Jesus Christ.
Oh, there you have it. Oh, there you have it.
I think, do you think mental slavery in Africa is real?
I think mental slavery is real, and not just in Africa. Yeah, because the diaspora expands Africa. Yeah, we have to go beyond Africa. Yeah, because we're one collective community. Okay, we are Africans, whether we're inside of Africa or outside of Africa. As Marcus Garvey says, yeah, Africa is for Africans, home or abroad. Okay, and you know, a tree without its roots, you know, is like a man without its history. So, you know, indelibly, the problem that we have is that lack of connectivity. We need to have a positive promotion on Africa. Okay? Once we start to have that positive promotion on Africa, everybody wants to be African. Everyone wants to be an Afrobeat artist. Yeah? Everybody wants to wear African swag, you know? Let's have a positive promotion on Africa. The same way they do in Dubai. Yeah, you look at Qatar, tiny Qatar. Look at how big Nigeria is. Look at Nigeria. Nigeria is an amazing place. Gambia is a wonderful, beautiful gem. Why aren't we promoting Africa with the individual little countries and large countries and huge countries? Why aren't we talking about the resources? Why aren't we talking about Californium? You know, Nigeria has Californium.
What is Californium?
Californium is one of the most sought after minerals. I think it's 27 million a gram.
Really?
Yes. And that's, you know, why they created the whole story of Boko Haram in that region.
Where
you know,
it was discovered.
Yes, of course. So What I'm trying to say is that, they come under the guise of these so-called helping aid agencies, but what we need to do is become self-sufficient. Yeah, we need to become self-sufficient. We are the, breadbasket. We are the feeding basket. We are the resource of the world. Without Africa, none of these other countries could even exist. Look at France, for example. France has been eating out of Africa, right? Till it's picked the skeleton dry. And I'm so glad, I am so glad that people are now beginning to wake up and say, I'm not making no more colonial payments to you. I don't owe you nothing. We owe you nothing, France. In fact, you owe us. Pay it back. Yeah, we want our reparations. Pay it all back. Everybody that was involved in slavery, pay it all back. It's time for us to tell them, pay them back. You know that in England, we were paying taxes, right? To Her Majesty's Treasury to repay the debt of what they paid to the slave owners, the compensation till 2015 we were paying in our taxes. Yes, I had to go and pay for the enslavement of my ancestors to the Queen, to the government, to Her Majesty's Treasury. And when I called and I asked for a tax rebate, they laughed at me. When I was in Sierra Leone, I met Dr. David Akinosa, who's written many books. And in fact, he even wrote some articles on this. So can you imagine, I'm in Sierra Leone, like in the back of nowhere, right, on this little island, and I bump into him making a documentary. I was like, hey, I read your book, I did your articles. And, the serendipity of it all is amazing. Even with Woda Maya and everything, is amazing. But, this is a fact, is that we have been hoodwinked, we have been fooled, we have been deceived, and we need to come together. Yeah, we need to come together, because if not, in this AI world that we are now living in, right, it's not going to be good for us. It's not going to be good for us. When they take away the money, it's not going to be good for us. When they launch the next epidemic, it's not going to be good for us. We need to be out there now controlling our food. Yeah, we need to all become farmers, back to the farm. We need to start making sure that we have food security for the future. We need to make sure that we have water farms for our water. We need to make sure that we keep control of our ports. And no, we do not give it to, I don't business if you're Chinese, Korean, whatever. We need to keep it African. Yeah? Everyone talks about development partners until you have to pay back the loan, and then they take a whole industry away from you. A national industry away from you. Your water away from you. Yeah? Your transport system away from you. Your airport away from you. Aren't we going to learn? Yeah? Read the small print, bro. Yeah, read the small print, sis. They're doing it for a reason. It's because they know that you cannot, service the loan.
I think someone said Africans are not too angry with what we've been through. We are not...
we're passive.
Yes.
Yeah, we're passive without the aggressive. Let me tell you something. If I was, let's say in another life, I was granted another life, and I was able to be in a position of influence, and let's say was a ruler of a country, and I would never give away control of my mineral resources. Never.
But then the assassination, like you mentioned earlier on.
Like I said, the reason why is because your head's above the parapet. Do you understand? Your head is above the parapet. Revolutionaries move in silence. We get bought into their system. Why do we have to run in a government the way that they tell us to run a government? Where is it written that we have to? Where is it written that we have to become a part of the UN, where you have no control, no power, no influence, no decision making? Africa's not even on the paper. Let's face it. Yeah. The UN Defense Council, West Africa, Africa's one of the biggest continents in the world. Don't even get a mention, yeah? Not even a week. And we're always begging and running. Whenever they say, oh, we have this conference, oh, we're going to do this, oh, we're going to do that, oh, we want to take your oil, oh, we want to do that, oh, we're all so happy to sign it over. Why? Because we're too trusting. We haven't learned from our enslavement, and we have not learned from the voices and the whispers and the screams of our ancestors that are waiting for acknowledgement from Africa. They didn't die in vain. Their blood still runs through my veins. So, you know, this is the problem, is that if I was there, yeah, it's a sacrifice that you make. Yeah? Magufuli, it's a sacrifice that he knew he made. But look at the legacy that he's left behind. Look at the legacy that many of those leaders have left behind. We couldn't talk about Sankara, Sankofa. We couldn't talk about, you know, so many in Kwame. We couldn't talk about any of these leaders. It's because of the sacrifices that they made so that we could be here today. Yeah? Malcolm X made a sacrifice. Martin Luther King made a sacrifice. You know they're going to take you out because that is what they do. That is their modus operandi. Yeah? Kill and take. It's power, kill, control. Yeah? That is their modus operandi. But you know what? We want to personalise it. Oh, but my neighbour is so nice. Have a cup of tea with him and everything. You know, and that's the problem. We personalise.
What kind of mindset do diaspora need to have in order for them to move to the continent and actually to be able to live and then kind of, what is to kind of, what is a word for it? To merge with the local society, there's a word for it.
Well, first of all, you need to integrate, you need to assimilate.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to integrate, you need to assimilate. And yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because one of the hardest things for me when I left England and I came here was actually assimilating to being free. It's very difficult. I remember Maya Angelou wrote a book called I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Okay? And what you don't realize is that when you're living in England and when you're living in America, you're actually in an invisible cage.
Really?
Yeah, you are.
How?
Well, for example, I'll give you an example. When I used to walk in London, this is my bag, this is my phone. Yeah. I don't walk and talk with my phone on the street.
Why? Someone would snatch it?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
They used to drive with mopeds up on the pavement or on the sidewalk. You know, and they'd have helmets on, dark helmets, and they could take it even on buses or whatever. So you're so security conscious that, you know, your bag's locked, yeah, it's under your arm. You're always looking around. You know what I mean? You don't feel safe.
Wow.
You do not feel safe.
In the UK?
No, you never felt safe.
Wow.
You know, I'll give you an example. Just on the weekend, a friend of mine, yeah, Diane, where she lives, just at the bottom of her road, there was a shooting. Do you see what I mean? A few weeks ago, the 3 people were stabbed on the day of their so-called coronation. Do you understand? The high crime levels.
Wow, it's over the roof, I saw. Why do you think that is in the UK?
It's not just the UK, but I mean, you look at Chicago, the death capital of the world, but they want to talk about Africa.
Yeah.
They want to talk about Nigeria. Go to Chicago, forget Nigeria. Nigeria is like paradise compared to Chicago. Yeah, death capital of the world.
Yeah.
You know, one of the reasons is because of the cost of living. Yeah. If, for example, my friend was telling me that she took her car in to go and have it, you know, like cleaned inside, outside, you know, hoovered and cleaned inside and outside and washed and everything else, or valeted, whatever you want to call it. And it's like £25.
To do that?
Yeah. So just to do that, she's telling me, you know, that she can't even take her car on certain roads because she doesn't want to pay, you know, this surcharge. You know, it's just cost of living. When she said to me how much a packet of crisps is, and you know, just to get by, people are struggling and they're going to food banks. You know, how can England have 1,200 food banks? How was it the other day? You know, they reported that 8 million people are living behind under the poverty threshold, and that the government actually gave out additional money so that people could survive, so that they could eat. 8 million, it's reported. If you don't believe me, go and look. It's all online, it's all reported.
That our African brothers trying to do anything to go to?
Yes.
Wow. We've been lied to.
Of course. And then the problem is that a lot of our brothers and sisters, I've got to give them the reality. When you try and go the back way, sometimes you end up in these detention centres. And let me tell you, yeah, some of the things that happen in these detention centres, you do not want me to talk about. You leave yourself open to, sodomy. You leave yourself open to abuse. Yeah? You leave yourself open, okay, to your loss of dignity and hope. And what for? What for? And then you think you're going to earn all this money. You can't even get a national insurance card. You can't work without a national insurance card. You can't get access to the healthcare system because you're not on the system. Do you see what I mean? And you can't work under someone's name again because everything is now, biometric. So, the irises are done, the face is done, everything is done. So what are you going to do? You're going to get some underground job where someone takes your passport and then you end up going into vice.
What is vice?
Prostitution or drug selling or drug muling or, being a sex escort or, let's just say, paedophilia, all kinds of things. Yeah, let's just say negative vice. And it happens, I've seen it. I used to work with a homeless program. So we used to go and give out food and it used to break my heart when I saw so many Africans sleeping in shopping centres. And I used to talk to them and say, why are you here? One guy, he was so destroyed by drugs where I don't know what happened to him, but I think they used him as a drug mule. And I think he said that the drugs exploded or what have you. And it affected him ever since. Yeah, his mind wasn't straight. And he was on the floor, like looking for water on the supermarket floor, on his hands and knees, like he was drinking water. And there's no water there, he was on the floor. His mind had gone. And, when I asked his friend what happened, and he said that, he was given something bad. And so I just wish I could have, at the time just had enough money to send them all home. Rather than see them, some guys hadn't washed for weeks or changed their clothes. Begging for money just to get by from day to day. There were women who had been raped. They wouldn't even show their face. They would stand in a corner, you know what I mean, rather than show their face, show their bodies just to survive. There's that side of the reality. Then now, of course, you've got the side where people have gone as, students, medical students and what have you, and had a different experience. I'm not negativing it and saying that, okay, that you shouldn't go there and improve yourself. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go there and get an education. But what I am saying is that, okay, once you get that, come and put that money back. Come and put that money back. Put that education and that skill back into Africa. Africa's already been raped so many times. Now you've got, the brain drain. You've got, people just leaving because they're looking for another opportunity and not coming and putting it back. So it's leaving a deficit and it's not fair. It's not fair because they've already taken all of the resources how many years ago to make their countries. So now can't we take all the resources from there and make back our country? We can fight for reparations all day long, but we know that they are guilty and they are never going to accept responsibility. And the reason why is because they benefited from it today, they benefited from it yesterday, and they're going to benefit from tomorrow. And they don't want to give it to you because they never liked you in the first place. They still don't like you then, they didn't like you now. Yeah, there's no difference. When you look at how, for example, Diane Abbott, look at how she was treated the other day. In Parliament, and the other, I've forgotten her name, the other lady that was talking about reparations, how the new Prime Minister, the Indian guy, shot her down was terrible. And he was saying, we're not going to unpick through history. I hope they unpick him. Yeah? So he's not going to be, no Prime Minister no more. Because any Prime Minister that can say that is not fit to be a Prime Minister, bottom line. And black people should be railing up, but they're putting something in our water. I'm sure in England they're putting something in the water or they're putting something somewhere or in the air, the chemtrails, the geoengineering. But they're putting something somewhere, just like what they did during the Third Reich when they were in, having what they did, right, during World War III. Because you've got to remember that there were black Jews. Let's not ever forget. Everyone talks about, the Holocaust, but everyone forgets about the black Jews. Yeah? I remember working on a program with a production company for Channel 4 called Hitler's Forgotten heroes, right? Or victims. Heroes, victims. I can't remember. It's such a long time ago. But I worked on this. And, you know, this program just reminded me of the fact that, yes, we were victims. Yes, there were black Jews in concentration camps. Do you understand? Where was their compensation?
This is unfair.
Right? Where was the black Jews' compensation? And because the black MP talks about it, she gets what, suspended? But what she was saying is true. It's absolute fact. But the fact of the matter is, if you say something that upsets them, they know you're the racist. Right? So all this reverse psychology and games they're playing when everything that they do, right, is subconsciously racist. It's institutionally racist. It's unconsciously biased. It's consciously biased. And it's set up intentionally to make sure that we do not raise ourselves above the status quo we are today. They do not want Africa to unite. If Africa gets rid of all its borders, said, you know what, I don't want it again, right? If Africa says, you know what, we're one continent and we're going to work together. I don't know how it will work with North Africa, mind you, because I've been there and I don't know how that's going to work out. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah? Because if you see what's going on in Tunisia, it looks like them not like we. And I've been there. Yeah? Been to Morocco, been to Egypt too. Okay?
They don't like you?
I'm going to ask you a question. When you look at the general populace, do they look like you?
In Egypt?
Yes.
No.
No, they put them on this little area called Nubian Village. Yeah? They put them all the way so you can't see them. Yeah? I say when you go to Morocco, general populace look like you?
No. Give 3 best advice for people coming to do business in Africa, and also 3 business ideas
Okay.
on exactly what they can invest in that can probably make profit in the near future or has the potential to turn out great on the continent.
Okay. Well, firstly, let's give you 3 pieces of advice to anyone wishing to come to Africa. The first piece of advice I would do is don't second guess it. Yeah? Do not second guess yourself. Don't think, oh, you know, am I making the right decision? Go and visit. Definitely go and visit a few countries. You know, see what takes your fancy, see what country you like the vibe of. Don't listen to the reports on the TV or the media or naysayers. Go and see. If you want to go to Nigeria, yeah, you can go to Abuja, you can go to Lekki, you can go to Port Harcourt. If you want the busy city vibe, you know, then go to Lagos. You know, if you want to go to Ghana, go to Accra, you know, go to Cape Coast. Go and see, you know. Ghana's beautiful. You understand? Go and see Ghana, you know, Akwaba. And, you know, just visit. Go to Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone's amazing. It's beautiful. You know, go to Guinea-Bissau if you want a small, you know, kind of beautiful gem with many beautiful islands. Go to, you know, go to Guinea-Bissau. You know, you've got Guinea-Conakry, you've got, you know, the beautiful Gambia. You've got so many, I mean, Gambia is amazing. I live in Gambia, so I'm biased. I'm biased about Gambia. Everyone come to Gambia. Yeah, but Gambia is so peaceful. It's so calm and it's a very fast developing economy, very fast developing country. So if you do want to go and set up a business, definitely. So I'd say go see, yeah. That's my first piece of advice is do not second guess it, yeah. Go see and enjoy yourself, yeah. Go party, go mix with people, sit with locals, you know, enjoy their company, yeah? Learn about the culture, find more about yourself, and don't just, you know, stick to one area or one set of people. Go and mix and find out. And also, you know, be safe too. Don't be silly, don't lose your head, you know? Don't lose your head. And so that's the first piece of advice is definitely go and see if you're thinking about going to Africa. Secondly, if you've made your mind up and you want to go, make a plan, a business plan, and, you know, include everything on it from your inventory, your shipping inventory, to your, also to the place where you're going to be staying. Are you going to be building? Are you going to be buying a house? Do you even have a budget? Yeah? And if you don't, and you're going to be working, what kind of work will you do to create that income while you're here to sustain yourself? You know, you're going to be looking at, do you have a home in England? Are you going to rent it out? Or do you even rent a house? Are you going to sublet? You know, what are you going to do to sustain yourself? And when you come here, you know, what kind of lifestyle are you looking for? Because that will determine where you live. I'm a village girl. Yeah, I'm a bit like Wodamaya. Yeah, I'm a village girl. That's why Wodamaya and I, we get on very well. Yeah, we're back to basics. I like living in the village. Yeah, I love living in the quiet of the village. I'm not really that towny. I like to sit with my neighbours and sit down, share a bowl and eat food and talk, you know, in the cool of the evening and share stories. So that's me, but that might not be you. You might want to live near a beach, you know, it's like more touristy, a little bit more fast where the clubs are and stuff like that. You know, it all depends on what you want. You might want to live by a river, you know, it depends on what you want. So you've got to think about that because you have a veritable choice. Do you see what I mean? So I think that's the next thing to do is to organize your business plan with precision and focus and detail. And don't leave any detail out, any cost out. Yeah, find out about the immigration system in the country. Find out, you know, about the shipping, how much it's going to cost to clear your container if you're shipping stuff. You know, find out how much the airfares are. Find out when it's cheaper for you to travel at that point in time, whether it's cheaper in rainy season, cheaper in dry season, high peak, low peak season, you know, and economize. Yeah, and remember this, you're going to create an indelible black footprint in a black country. Now you're giving back to the black economy. You're giving back to the African economy. So, you know, also be really excited about that. Feel proud that you're no longer giving your money to your oppressors. You're no longer giving your money to your oppressors. I admit, you know, I eat the occasional packet of crisps and stuff like that, and I do feel guilty. Yeah, I do feel guilty. But you know what? There's some addictions that are very hard to give up. And Walker's Crisps is one of mine, unfortunately. But at least I'm honest about it, okay? I own up, okay? Walker's Crisp, yeah, it's ready sorted. But anyway, so, you know, be prepared to also know that not everything that you're going to get there, you're going to get here. So you might be used to going to 24-hour Tesco's. You're not going to get that here, but you might be able to find a shop in town, you know, that opens late till maybe 4 o'clock, you know, that, but won't have the variety that you're used to, okay? Depending on where you are, because you can go to Ghana and find that. You can go to Nigeria and find that, but you might not necessarily find that here. So that's why I say it depends on where you go. So, you know, this is another thing in terms of preparation is your mind. So my third thing is piece of advice. So the first piece of advice that I gave was obviously go and see where you like. The second piece of advice is once you found it, yeah, plan meticulously. Yeah, every single detail, plan it meticulously, and remember to include things like, you know, you're coming into a different tropical environment. So if you don't like insects, think about, you know, making sure where you live has got vents, you know, and mosquito nets and stuff like this, and, you know, prepare to come into a tropical environment. And prepare to also taste different foods and to try different things. You can't just come and say, oh no, if it's not fish and chips, I'm not going to eat it. You know, if it's not burger and chips, I don't want it. You know, you've got to learn to also try and eat local food and live like the locals do in order to one, survive, you know, and to economize. So, you know, when you're planning your thing, then you might want to say, okay, this is something that I really like, I will ship it when I'm coming. You know what I mean? So those kind of things, and get rid of all your winter clothes because you won't need them depending on where you're living, of course. Yeah. And then the other aspect of it is number 3, my advice is once you have arrived and once you've got there is to secure your premises and to secure yourself. Yeah. And so when I say that, secure yourself in their society. Let people know that you are there so that you've always got people around you who can know that who you are, your neighbours and so on and so forth. It's not like England where you can live next door to someone and not talk to them for like 10 years. You don't even know their name, you know, and they ignore you, you ignore them, you know. And sometimes you might have good neighbours where you do know them and they do know you and they'll watch out for you. So it's the same thing. You want to obviously have that and have your security when you come here as well. You know, be mindful. Like I said, you know that I have my security systems, and I suggest everyone have their own security systems. It depends on what you want to use. Do you know what I mean? But everyone should have it. The same way I had in England. Why should I not have it here? Yeah, and it's not because I come and you're trying to say everyone's a criminal. No, I'm not. I'm saying that you're used to that level of security when you were in England. So bring that same level of comfort to you here. You know, because I've heard people come and say, oh, I felt quite vulnerable, because it takes time for you to get used to being in an environment where you can feel safer. It takes time. Yeah. So bring your creature comforts with you. I'm not saying that you should obviously come and try and Europeanize or Americanize Africa. That is not what I'm saying. Yeah. But what I am saying is, once you come here, you know, put your plan of action into place, but mind your mind. Yeah, your mind emancipation has to start from plan 2 when you're making your business trip. From when you made your first plan, your mind emancipation must start. So your mind emancipation comes into play in part 3, which is the question of preparation. And that is, you know, accepting your people, accepting a different language. Even me, I am not fluent. I've been living here for how long, and I am not fluent because everyone talks to me in English, right? I try though, I try. Yeah, try and get yourself adopted into a family. It's great because you learn the culture, you learn the mores, you know what I mean? You learn so many different things by being attached to a family. So I would definitely say, you know, get attached to a family. I would definitely say find the local market, find the ladies in the market, get favorable prices, learn the price of everything, yeah, and learn from locals. Always go with someone who knows all the prices and write them down. So, you know, no one can't change and switch it up on you. You know, going from A to B in a taxi, you know, learn how much it is before you get your own car. Understand the rules of the road, because they might be slightly different. Like here, they drive on the opposite side of the roads to what they do in England. Do you see what I mean? And they have slightly different rules, so you have to kind of learn those as well. You know, you learn that there's so many different people from so many different cultures, so many different languages here. It's like a real mixing pot. So you've got to be able to be flexible. And I think that's the last word, is being flexible in every aspect of being here, and understand that you have to have patience, and that you're coming into this environment and you need to accommodate and acclimate and be flexible in this environment as well. You know, you don't expect the environment to bend to you. You have to bend into the environment and have patience in the process, because some things in Africa, it's not like England, you know, what I call, you know, instant mix. It can be, you know, quite tedious to someone who's used to, like, you know, microwave meals. You go into a restaurant, they're not heating up in the microwave, they're actually cooking that food, you know. So you're sitting there, like my friend goes, you know, oh, they're taking ages with this food. I said, no, they're cooking it, dear. Yeah. What do you mean they're cooking it? Because you're used to going into a restaurant, when the food is prepared, they just ding, ding, take it out and give it to you. So, you know, I'm not saying that all restaurants do that, but here I prefer to have the freshly cooked food. I prefer to eat fresh, you know, organic food, and you can get beautiful, fresh, organic food here. So, you know, prepare your palate for that. Prepare your palate to, you know, try new things. That's what I would say. Yeah, just try new things, and, you know, be ready to explore, because there's so much beauty here, so much beauty, so much to enjoy. And so the third thing I'd definitely say is, once you get here, definitely enjoy. You know, secure yourself, secure your premises, secure, you know, secure your mind, yeah, in being at peace, and then enjoy. Three businesses, I'd say definitely construction. Yeah, as you can see in Gambia here, lots and lots and lots and lots of construction going on. So I would definitely say that there's lots of opportunities there. Second advice, like I said in my last program, particularly here in Gambia, definitely agriculture. Definitely agriculture, agri-processing, agri-financing. And thirdly, there's so many different areas. I think thirdly, I would definitely say training, education, and definitely investment in the arts. I was lucky enough to meet an artist called ST, and able to see, you know, how he was able to become very, very successful as an artist. And I've realized that, you know, the music industry or creative industries are, you know, quite prolific, and we need more great African exports. Yeah, and I would say definitely kind of retail. Yeah, definitely retail. So I would kind of combine them, you know, into definitely things to do with buying and selling. Yeah, enterprise. enterprise. I'd definitely say enterprise, buying, selling, shipping, exporting, that kind of thing. Definitely also big, but also training education is also another big area here. And that's an expanding area, but we need to kind of expand the things here. And even in agriculture, we need to expand the dietary products here that you can eat. You know, I'd like to see more variety of foods here, you know, without doubt. So I think that, yeah, those are the areas, because there's things like breadfruit, there's so many other things that they grow in different African countries that they don't have here, things that they have in Ghana they don't have here. And so it'll be nice to see, you know, more components of that culture share and food share. And it would help also with future food security. So definitely agriculture, definitely construction. Yeah, and definitely, I would say, like I said, commerce, education, and healthcare.
I like that. Send a final message for the people watching.
Oh, wow. My last message is thank you so much for inviting me on your show, and I probably talked way too much. I'd like to say, please, 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 you know, do not underestimate Africa. Okay? Africa is amazing. I have no regrets, no regrets. I came to Africa first when I was 22. I'm now 52, okay? And also I have lived here now for 4 years. I first came here in 2011. You know, I say definitely make a plan, you know, build your house, get off the grid, you know, and live your life freely and happily. You don't have to be, you know, you don't have to be strangled by society. You can be free to be yourself. And I think that's what it is. And there are opportunities here too. They have banks here too. They have hospitals here too. You know, they have internet here too. They have everything here too. So, you know, don't think that they have schools here too. They have universities here too. You know, I just like people to know that Africa is advanced too. You know. And so there are opportunities here. There are newspapers here too, you know, news channels here too, TV channels here too. Everything is here too. So, you know, you can be here too. That's what I say. So Blaxit back to Africa. And, you know, if not, come see. You know, at least come see. At least experience it. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much for talking to me.
Oh, you're welcome. I tell you what, yeah, you can come to Africa and get rich. Akon said you can come to Africa and get rich. He wasn't lying. Okay? Come to Africa. Africa is where everything originates from. Come to Africa. If you really, really think that you're going to make it there, wait till you come here. Okay? Africa is where it's happening. Africa is the next developing country, is going to be the next frontier for wealth. So if you want to be wealthy, yeah, you want to stay healthy, Africa is where it's at.
That is some good punchline. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, this is Blaxit on Webnation. Watch Webnation, support Webnation, subscribe to Webnation, thumbs up for Webnation, and share Webnation. So remember, Blaxit supports Webnation. Blaxit to Africa, and watch Webnation.